Hello everybody, welcome to Coffee and Geography. So, I am out and about today. It's a bit of a drab, dreary grey morning here in the South Norfolk town of Diss in the United Kingdom. But I got something to brighten my day. Something which is hopefully going to cheer everybody up. So what I'm doing then, I've just walked off one of the main roads into a little pedestrianised place called Norfolk Yard, and around me I can see there's a restaurant. You've got the Sing Tong restaurant. There's a Thai food restaurant. I must see on my right, we've got there's a vacant spot here. It's to let. On my left, I've got Frederick's Fine Foods. The deli with a difference, it says. And a bit beyond me, I have the wonderful Amandine's Cafe, vegan, vegetarian cafe, which is what's lovely, in an incense place. But if I turn to the right here, there's a shop I'm going to spend the morning in. It's a shop I absolutely adore, with people who are lovely to speak to, and they're very kind to invite me in. And this is the Natural Food Workers Cooperative in Norfolk Yard Diss. So let's go inside.
Welcome to Coffee and Geography, where my guests and I geek out about the world and everything on it, discovering that we are all geographers in some way, shape or form. I am your host, Kit, and my pronouns are they, them or she, her. So settle down with a brew, hit that subscribe or follow button, and enjoy the listen.
This podcast is sponsored by the World Energy and Meteorology Council, or WEMC for short. WEMC is an international organisation focused on weather and climate data to support energy transition, and we also work with educators. WEMC have created Teal, an easy-to-use free visualisation tool that enables you to explore climate variables for the past 70 plus years. Get started at tealtool.earth. Find us at wemcouncil.org and follow us on Twitter at wemcouncil.
So the first thing you notice when you walk in is how warm it is. I mean, I'm not talking about the temperature. I'm talking about just, it's lovely. You've got the starlights and the star-shaped lights in the ceiling. You're immediately greeted on the left with different kinds of loose-leaf tea, all packaged up separately, and condiments, jams, biscuits. On the right, we've got produce, oranges, cherry tomatoes. And just looking at the tags here, supplied by Anglin Organics, some of these. And then spices, soaps, sponges. And let's take a step down here towards the back of the room. We've got so much more. Refill bottles. We've got a fridge and freezer section and a deli counter, one of my favourite parts of the Natural Food Store. So why don't we go and take a chat to some of the staff. I'm joined by Suzanne. Hello, Suzanne.
Hi, Kit.
How are you? So tell me just basically what you do here, just a very quick introduction to yourself.
Well, I'm part of the Natural Foodstore Cooperative, so I'm one of a group of 5 members, and we run the shop. It's a whole food shop selling all things sustainable and doing our best to give people sustainable options.
Nice.
And healthy options.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I described when I first walked into the shop is that it's warm, and I know it's a little bit chilly at the moment for this time of year, but so I didn't mean warm as in the temperature. I said warm as in just the appearance, like how welcome it is, and you've got this soft yellow light with these wonderful starlights at the top there, and you agree with all these different vibrant colours on the shelves. So would you like to take me on a little tour, perhaps, of some things that you sell, some things that you're proud of here in the shop?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole look of the shop is probably got a kind of sort of Harry Potter vibe as opposed to a kind of modern shop, really.
Yeah.
So, and that's basically because probably most of the furniture in here has been reclaimed. It's like
okay.
so. There's an awful lot of kind of reusing, and the ethos of the shop is in the building of the shop as well. So even the yellow paint colour in here was gifted to us quite a long time ago. So.
Oh wow! So it's really interesting that how the actual fabric of the shop itself has this kind of sustainable community vibe to it.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we really make a big effort to make the shop look as functional and tidy as we can as well. So, but it's also very friendly, and there's a lot of artwork that we create, and
Like
you know,
that star made of buttons up there.
yeah, that Monique made that for us, and I painted the signs, which we've often taken to when we've done outside events like market events and things like that to sort of tell people about what we do.
Nice. Actually, you know what I've just noticed, Suzanne? If we come over here, where
Yeah.
all the shelves, where all the herbs are. So this was there used to be a door on this. I can see the hinge marks.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? I mean, I've been part of the shop for probably 20 years now, and this has been the same since I've been here. So, you know, but yeah, it looks as though maybe there were 2 opening doors at some point, and all
Maybe
the way
it's-
down or something like
could have
that.
been a
and they've been taken
small
away.
pantry or something,
Exactly.
larder,
Yeah.
or it could
Yeah,
be a
and
passage to Narnia.
There may well be. Yeah.
Okay, so you lead me around then. What would you like to show me?
Okay.
We start whenever you like, wherever you like.
So we've got generally everything in the shop that you kind of would want in your, basic weekly shop. So, we start with a wall of different teas, and they're all in plastic-free packaging. And these ones here, we get in bigger bags, and we bag them ourselves. And
so little patches. So we got gunpowder loose tea, mango sencha loose tea, orange spice leaf, rose poochong. Wow.
And those are from Wilkinson's of Norwich, which is also another kind of Harry Potter style shop. If you ever, it's in one of the lanes in Norwich, and it's just gorgeous little shop. And we get our tea from them, and then we bag it. And these are in Nature Flex, which is biodegradable and compostable, so it breaks down really quickly in no time at all.
That's amazing.
So an awful lot of our produce is in Nature Flex packaging. So, we were faced with the dilemma when everybody was talking about, whether you have the big hoppers and then people bring in their containers to fill. But part of our ethos is plastic free, but also a big part of our ethos is organic.
Right.
And to be organic, you've got to have very strict rules in place, and you have to have organic certification if you're handling loose organic goods. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's really, really strict, and it costs a lot of money to get checked, all the way through the organic system. If somebody's selling organics, they're getting checked constantly, wow. Including lovely Lisa, who grows our vegetables from Anglian Organic. She gets checked on a really regular basis to make sure they look at all her paperwork, they look where her vegetables are growing, they know all about her land, so we came up with a system where we could get the food bagged in the way that we always had, but in plastic-free packaging. So we were really happy about that whole system.
That's an eye-opener for me, and I think a lot of people listening, it's going to be an eye-opener for as well.
Yeah.
And I wonder if folks listening who work in the agricultural business, who work with organics and non-organic, whether you have the same strict regulations on non-organic food. And is that the wrong way round? Should we have stricter regulations on the non-organic food? Then, so that's a good debate-based question,
well,
I think.
I'm no expert in farming.
Of course.
I only know about the things that we come up against in the shop and
the consumer
rules
side of things,
exactly,
the retail,
rules we have
the chain.
to. Yeah, you'd probably have to talk to somebody from Hodmer-Dodds or something like that.
I'd love to do that. If you're listening, any of the agricultural suppliers, producers, suppliers of Natural Food Store, you get in touch, absolutely. So this is really so this Nature Flex stuff and made from compostable film, the next generation packaging. So we've just given a shout out to Nature Flex there.
It's made from sustainable wood pulp.
Okay.
And it's I think it's cellulose. So and we tried it. We put it in our compost heaps, and it breaks down super quickly.
Awesome.
And it's also marine biodegradable as well.
So it breaks down.
So if it gets
ocean,
into the water,
it
breaks down. And it's also, I was reading about it, it also has some nutritional value to the soil.
Really?
So there's something in there because it's made of wood, so it goes back in. So
That's
I mean, it's
fascinating.
probably minimal, but it's positive rather than negative.
Because one of the biggest the heated debates at the moment is with regards to plastic, because there's a lot of research out there that's taking place, which is not, I wouldn't say contradictory, but there's like pros and cons to the argument with regards to
Yeah.
plastic packaging, because there's a very strong argument to turn and say that plastic packaging reduces food waste, which is in itself a terrible contributor to environmental destruction and climate change and things like that. But on the other hand, of course, plastic causes itself so much trouble. So, and it's really good that we have these kind of like best of both worlds almost solutions.
Exactly.
So, of course, then the following questions, being a critical thinker as us geographers are, is okay. So, where is this material coming from? Do they have to use land to do it? You know, how sustainable is their practice using the wood and all that kind of stuff? And so, as I say, yeah, perhaps we'll try and get somebody on from these folks
absolutely.
and talk about their process. You know, about how they
Yeah.
come to making these packaging, because I won't tell a lie, Suzanne. When you walk in through the door and you see that, you know, I bet you might have some customers who just look at that and think, "Oh, well, you've got plastic."
We've had so many customers who come in and they say, why don't you do the big barrels of food and sell it out, the hoppers and stuff, because that's what they see on Instagram. And you know,
that's very chic, isn't it? It's very
but they're
popular.
they're not normally organic.
Oh,
So
right. Okay. Yeah.
so you're buying your oats from a lovely big hopper and you bring in your nice container, but you're not getting organic oats.
Fascinating.
So the organic oats have such a massive positive impact on the environment compared to the non-organic oats, because of the impact on the soil and the wildlife and the bees and the insects and the birds.
Absolutely.
And all. So it's so complex, and there's nothing black and white about any of these things.
Absolutely.
And the same with the palm oil. People have heard about palm oil.
Yeah.
And they come in and they say we don't want any palm oil, but they don't realise that all oil has an impact on the environment.
Yes.
And maybe some sustainable palm oil is okay compared to some non-sustainable vegetable oil. So it's such a complex issue.
It's a minefield for the consumer, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And we rely on our wholesalers to be looking at these issues as well. So we have wholesalers who have the same sort of ethos as us. So it's very complex.
And this is one of the reasons why you folks here work so hard. Is not just getting things on the shelves, making sure there's things here that people need, that you're competitively priced that you can possibly be, but it's all these cross-checking, these background checks that you have to do and everything.
Yeah. And knowing that there are no vanilla pods available on the market because something's going on in Madagascar.
Okay, yes.
People ask us, why is there no vanilla? Why is the vanilla gone up 3 times since I last bought it? It's because there isn't any available in the world.
So you're almost educating your consumers as well.
Absolutely.
Because
if they ask.
if they ask, and it's really interesting because some of the previous guests I've spoken to, especially those of indigenous backgrounds, I mean, people are now coming to the realization that there's a disconnect between our society and the natural world that we get our stuff from. Whether it's sourced directly from the natural world or we've then refined them and processed them from the natural world. And she was saying that when she goes and speaks, this is a shout out to White Raven woman Candice Lloyd, who said, when she goes into school, she asks them, where do your potatoes come from? Most kids say the store. And then she says, okay, where did they get them from? And then more and more young people struggle as she goes through that line of inquiry.
Yes.
And so it's really, really fascinating. I think more people are now becoming aware, especially with the current, say, cost of living crisis and the fuel crisis, that something, a pin can drop somewhere in the other side of the world and it can have this butterfly effect on, here in the United Kingdom. And so like that, that perfect example you just gave with the vanilla pods in Madagascar, or it could be, I'm just going to do this, Suzanne, because I know I can pronounce it. So like the eruption of Eyjafjallajökull in 2010,
well done.
that caused the flour industry in Kenya to almost collapse.
Yes.
Even though the ash cloud didn't even make it that far, didn't make it towards the continent of Africa, really.
Well, these things have been an issue for whoever's been running the Natural Food Store since it started, which is like 40 plus years ago.
Wow.
I mean, it was a vegetarian shop from day one, which was radical, and most people, in a little sleepy Norfolk town would think that was crazy, but now we're mainstream.
Yes,
No.
it's so lovely.
Yeah.
What else would you like to show me, Suzanne? So we've
Lovely.
talked about the plastic
So we
packaging
also
or
have lots of
non-plastic.
local food. So
Mm.
we've got honey which is grown locally, and
So Waveney
it's
Valley, Suffolk
literally
blossoms.
just gets brought to the shop, as it's taken from the bees and processed. So it's and then we've got Crohn's apple juice, which we've been selling their apple juice for ages, and it's just delicious. So it's
Fairview,
organic.
Kenninghall, Norfolk. Yeah, just up the road.
And it changes from year to year. So again, you don't always get the same apples because one apple tree might not crop that year, and so people say, "Oh, where's my Cox and Discovery blend or something?" Well, actually, the Cox wasn't very good last year, but you try this one, So it, I think we've got so spoiled that we just expect everything, don't we, to be given to us, and don't understand that actually nature is sometimes has to have a rest.
But this place is trying to get us to reconnect back to
Absolutely.
It's putting us back in with the rhythms of what we can grow.
I love the story of this olive oil. So
organic.
Yeah, Many Organic. I was reading about them, and that it was set up by a German guy who moved to Greece, and he wanted to start running his olive farm there organically, and all the local neighbours, who lived there forever, thought, he was probably bonkers. And then he started to talk to them about what he was doing, and talk to them about his ethos and the way he ran a farm, and the quality of his olives. And he got loads of people to go on board with him, and now they're quite a big company.
Wow.
and they've improved the environment no end by growing the olives organically, and the groves are now organic.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we've got two labels here. We've got they're registered with the Soil Association of being organic produce, and there's something I've not seen before. It says Natureland, so that's without the E, Natureland Fair. So I wonder what I'm gonna have to look that one up. There's loads of recognisable stuff like the Fair Trade logo and Soil the FSC, but I've never seen that one before.
No, that's new to me actually. That's just appeared. I've not seen that one before. So
folks, look that up. So Natureland without the E.
Yeah. That's
okay.
So hopefully that means that the farmers are getting a fair whack of money for what's being produced. I'll have to look what that one means.
And what that story is really telling us as well is that I think it was an episode of the podcast, The Festival of Dangerous Ideas, which is a fantastic listen, everybody. You should definitely listen it up. And there was somebody, I can't remember his name, but there was an episode with a fella in Australia of indigenous descent, and he's pushed back at this argument about, humans lived in this complete symbiotic relationship with nature, or this that humans have been stewards looking up. It's more of that humans were just a natural biotic component of the ecosystem. Yeah. So there was disruptions taking place. However, it was, I suppose symbiotic may be the correct way, but it was part of the ecosystem where the ecosystem thrived.
Yes.
Because of the way that humans were living sustainably.
Is the balance.
So that is a perfect modern day example of probably what this person was talking about. Is about, okay, so they have changed. Of course, they've changed the environment to some extent by growing olives. However, if the ecosystem is thriving because of it, then you're getting your produce, but you're also allowing nature to take its course.
Absolutely. So and you know that if those olive groves aren't being sprayed, then the nature is going to move back in, isn't it?
And help you out with growing those olives, no doubt.
Absolutely. I know. And it's just, I hate this idea that human beings are higher than nature or lower than nature.
Yes. It's very Victorian mindset.
Yeah, exactly. We're just absolutely part of nature, and we have just as capable of having a positive impact on the planet as a negative one. All we have to do is put our clever minds to it, and it's all there for the doing. You know, it's just stopping the oligarchs making the decisions and allowing the people who understand how the planet works to make the decisions.
100%. So there's something else that I really love in this shop, Suzanne, is your refill shelf here, refill station. So you do have
Yes.
a refill station.
We
So it's
do
not
have a
necessarily
refill station,
food, but it
but
is
it's for
shampoo and conditioner and stuff.
shampoo, conditioner, and we also have the laundry liquid, washing up liquid,
Yep.
body washers and deodorants, and hand wash. So
Yes.
so people do bring in their bottles and get them refilled, and I've got ancient washing up bottles.
We still
and-
have ours from years ago. Yes.
I've got a really old-fashioned version of the Ecover bottle,
Oh right.
which is just as good as it was when I bought it, and it just gets used and used and used. And every time I fill it up, I think that's saved that bottle being made again. Because even if plastic gets reused, and often it doesn't, even if it gets reused, it still goes through a process to be reused. So so we are really excited about our refill station.
So it's faith in nature. It says
Yes.
no SLS and parabens, and we've got coconut, aloe vera, lavender, and geranium, and conditioner, the same as well. So you can mix and match, or you can have your same perfumed ones as, and that's absolutely lovely. Yeah. So we have that as well at home. We come in and we get our bottles
and
refilled for us.
We're in the process at the moment. We're hoping it's going to happen in the next few months of working with our local supplier who makes our soaps for us.
Yes, love those soaps. Yes,
they're working on some shampoos and conditioners which will be refillables.
So yeah, these soaps, folks, they are absolutely delightful. I'm making my way through testing all of them. So these are from a local person.
From a local, it's Rebecca's cousin.
Natural
makes
Sense.
them.
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
So
Natural colours.
So they're and then we've got our own paper packaging. So we, that this is sort of, one of the parts of the shop which you can't get. That you can't get that anywhere else. It's all completely us. So.
And folks, I do apologise. I have not yet installed Smell-O-Vision on the podcast. I'm working on it. But yeah, so we've got sandalwood, we've got lemongrass, we've got rose, we've got orange, and is that calendula?
Calendula.
Yeah, confidence that one. Lavender and goat's milk soap, and that's my other half loves the goat's milk.
Well, that's fantastic because it's really good for people who've got eczema and
we
get people who come in and buy like 5 at a time of that one because and they stock up after it. And then we sell things like a lot of plastic frees as well. So we've got like the shaving kits, and then we've got the whole plastic free toothbrushes and the nail brushes and the hair brushes.
Toothpaste tablets as well.
Refillable toothpaste tablets.
Yeah,
absolutely. To try and get away from the tubes. And also the deodorants, which are plastic free as well. So these are fantastic.
And shout out to the company Earth Conscious because they because I tagged them on Twitter because I use their natural deodorant, which is it's basically a stick of deodorant within a cardboard tube, effectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you just push it through with your thumb from the bottom, and it comes out the top, and it lasts forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably only buy one of those sticks.
And they're super strong,
6 months.
aren't they? The bars are,
and they only start falling apart when you're finishing off because of course there's less in it. So
they absolutely do the job, and also I love these ones, the salt of the earth.
The balms,
The balms, they're fantastic, and again, it just lasts and lasts. You don't need a lot of it. So, they're very good.
So that leads me on to a question I wanted to ask Suzanne. Is that one of the people? Because actually, funnily enough, this was actually a question in one of the GCSE geography exams this year.
Yeah.
And it was something along the lines of assess the effectiveness or assess the benefits of ethical consumerism.
Yes.
And one of the cons, because you know how students are structured, they say what your pros are, say what your cons are, then say what a conclusion is, like that structure. And one of the cons that was very common that the students put, these 16-year-old kids, was the expense.
Yes.
I mean, I know that when you look at the cost of something, I've trained myself to look at not the overall cost, but say the cost per use or the cost per amount or the cost per length of time that you have it for.
Yeah.
So those deodorant sticks, for example, they may be £7.95, something like that, but they last me like half a year.
Yeah.
So actually, they end up cheaper than buying a spray or something.
Well, the little tiny plastic roll-ons that you get in the supermarket, they're very cheap, but they don't last very long.
They don't last very long, yeah.
And then you've got this big plastic ball, and then you've got
yes.
it's just they're just loaded with plastic.
Yeah.
Like you can't even break open, so they're impossible to recycle. And
so, okay, so in terms of the face cost, obviously it is an issue because it's for those.
You're
for
saying
accessibility,
it's a luxury to shop economically, to shop
environmentally,
in a place like this.
But
there
what would you say to that then?
I mean, there are a lot of our customers don't worry about money, but also we have a lot of customers who are looking at the prices and what's going in their basket, and they also know what the same products cost in the supermarket. They're looking. It matters.
Yes.
They've got a very limited budget, and something like this, the Ocean Savers, seems to be a good solution to go down that route. So they're the idea of the Ocean Saver brand is that you dilute it, so it's actually really, really reasonable. And you can buy a bottle, or you can get your own bottle, and just make it up yourself.
So you're selling the empty bottles there, 100% recycled plastic bottles, which you can then use to be refilled. Yeah. Okay.
So there are, and also like you're talking about living cheaply. I mean, surely it's cheaper to make a big pot of soup with red lentils and beans and things like that, and have eat the rices and the couscous and bake your own bread.
Yes.
I mean, I know that's all time heavy, but not all of it's time heavy. I make loads of scratch meals that I'm out of the kitchen in a quarter of an hour.
Yeah.
And not, when you're steering away from meat, that automatically means that your weekly shopping bill has gone down.
This is very, very true. Yeah, this is very true. And I know I've got plenty of, a lot of my audience are geography teachers, and by extension, they're students. And I know I've got a few undergrads listening. It's like, folks, like one of the best things you can do when you're living in student digs is to make things in bulk and then freeze them into portions.
Yes.
It's like, and then when you're in a rush for any particular reason, you just stick it in the microwave or stick it on a pan.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things we do is we make our own ready meals, so they're available in the freezer.
Black turtle bean, spinach, and red pepper korma.
And this is something that you could do at home. Just make a big pot.
Yeah.
And you can reuse these tins at home. So you can use them again and again. And it's a case of reorganising the way you live, isn't it? But I know that people are doing it, because I know so many young people who've gone to veganism, and I know young people who have been vegan at university, and they are organising themselves, and they are batch cooking. People say, "Oh, people won't do it. People won't batch cook," but they are, because I know young people who are doing it.
Yeah. One of the best things that anyone can invest in, is a slow cooker.
Right.
Is like we make use of our slow cooker so much, and then as you say, you just put a little bit of some of these ingredients in, whether they're lentils, any kind of pulse really.
Yeah.
And then you just you spend 15-20 minutes in the morning, leave it on its low scent, let it go, and by the time you come back, it's just ready to be stirred up.
Absolutely.
Off you go. And
if you've got some lovely spice mixers and blends to put in there, and
folks, you can even make mashed potato in a slow cooker. All right, I've done it. You can do that.
Yeah.
So and so when you're thinking about doing that, that lovely mix and match. Maybe my American folks for Thanksgiving and whatnot, and you got sweet potato mash and stuff like that. You just get your slow cooker on.
But we've got this amazing new invention, which is Google. So
this is very true.
What shall I do with my leftover potato? Yeah. So when you look in the fridge and there's a whole load of things, you can just put in what those things are, and somebody will have come up with a recipe for it, and so there's no need for the levels of waste.
100%. Yeah. And course, other search engines are available. I would recommend Ecosia, the web browser that plants trees. You know, as you browse. So there's that as well. But it's fascinating stuff, and we've made this transition to this web, and you know, our levels of income. I mean, we're very privileged and lucky that despite this squeeze that we're all having at the moment, we're still okay. That our family is still okay, and we, you know, and when we had the money to invest in things like solar energy and electric car, we did so, and that's now insulating us from some of the problems today with energy costs and whatnot. But money has got really, really tight even for us.
Well, I think it is fair. You
but
know,
we
there's
still
not
come
many
and shop.
people who aren't being impacted at the moment.
This is right. But the point to make is that we still come here. We still get bits and bobs. You know, because what we've done is that we've now habituated both our shopping habits and our budget with regards to that. Our grocery budget will include stuff from here, from the Natural Food Store, and we then know, like, we will cook things in batches. We will use the slow cooker. We will, you know, and some of these things, you know, last so much a long time, and then when we're stuck for something to eat, usually what happens is that we pull up something from here and whip something up in 15 minutes.
Exactly.
And actually, it seems to be a lot more economically sustainable. It's just people just need to get on that ladder. You know, if they can get over the stigma, if they have the outset of the costs. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's these things save money people in the long term, but they need to get them on this ladder, which will save them money.
Well, there's been a lot of disruption of people's shopping behaviours, obviously, because of COVID.
Yes,
and a lot of our customers have been frightened to come into town and to shop.
Right.
You know, they've been staying home. So, it's been a hard couple of years, but we're also seeing as a chance, if people are in flux at the moment, that maybe they'll make a move towards sustainability, and it doesn't have to be expensive, you know. Because it's what you're choosing to eat, isn't it, and how you're choosing to cook it.
And the other thing as well is that I work a lot with people with climate anxiety, and I try and coach educators and how they can make their children more resilient to climate anxiety. You know, they have those feelings and they're valid, and they live with those feelings, but how to make good use of them. Of course, we know that I saw this again. This was on Twitter, and somebody had posted. I'm not endorsing this, folks, but it just highlights the issue, right? So somebody had posted, the single most environmentally friendly thing you can do is eat one billionaire. If you eat one billionaire and you eat meat for that one occasion, that's actually going to do more for the planet than you going vegan for your whole entire life. And I was like, and obviously that was tongue in cheek. But it just highlights the point that individuals like ourselves feel like we can't make a dent in this global system. However, the counter argument to that is that when I speak to people, I say, if you've got the privilege to do so, and you've got the money to do, or you can afford to do so, or you've got the capability of doing so, switch your shopping habits.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the greatest powers we have is as a consumer. And, you know, one of the things that you can do, apart from vote once every 4 years, one of the other things you can do is put your money in the right places, because everybody's reaching out to try and grab it. But if you put it in the right places, you know, if you shop in a small local shop where we all live locally, so any money we spend is hopefully spent locally, and, you know, our taxes are going into this country, and everything that we do is being reinvested back into this country and this area. It's got to be better than throwing our money against the winds, you know.
It seems to be like, if patriotism matters to people, it sounds like one of the most patriotic things you can do is keep your money in the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you will naturally...
It seems like a very sort of conservative thing to buy British, but, you know, it's like...
Here we are, we're in a Natural Food Store.
Absolutely.
Where almost exclusively everything is British.
Yeah.
But you know, you change your shape out, and then you will disrupt the systems because we live in a capitalist society, which is mostly to blame for the environmental problems that we have today. So the only way we're really going to do that is to, you know, defeat the kind of system within itself. And one way is to, as you just said, put the money where it could matter. And then if more money comes into places like this, ethical bank accounts, ethical loans, things that we all need anyway, insurance companies, then the people who run these businesses are going to take note and say people are voting with their money to say, like, we need to be nurturing and restoring the planet with our practices. So we better, everybody else will say, well, we're now being outcompeted. We need to change behaviour as well.
Yes.
So, and that's how you change the system, folks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what this shop is all about, really.
It's a protest, really, in a way, isn't it?
We see ourselves as radicals, definitely. Gentle radicals.
Gentle radical. I wouldn't, it's like you come into the show, it's like wouldn't put Suzanne and, and Jan and Faye as radicals, but you are. You're radical by, and
but
this is your activism
the way
as
we
well.
run the shop as well, the fact that we're a cooperative, it's a radical act in the world that we live in, even though, it's about as democratic as you can get. It's not what is encouraged as the norm.
It's bizarre because if you look at the government's established British values, which are really just values, there is everything about this shop ticks all the British values, really, in a way.
Yeah.
So if they mean anything, really, especially like the being a centre for the community, being helpful for the community, and all that kind of stuff, it's being inclusive by everything that you do, and it's just. Yeah, it's weird that this is a radical thing when actually this is exactly what people are asking for.
Exactly. I mean, we know our customers. When COVID struck, we were finishing work at the end of the day and putting boxes in our cars and driving it to people's houses.
Yeah.
So it's like, what other kind of service do you get? And you only get that from small local businesses.
Right.
I know other local businesses who were doing the same thing and who turned on their heels very quickly and provided a service that was helpful to their local community. Like I think the Burston Crown, they started selling milk and bread so that the people in the village didn't have to go to travel anywhere.
Bailey's Fish and Chips were giving out free fish and chips to the homeless.
Many amazing little shops in town who just thought, how can we actually be of service to our community in this troubled time, and also protect their staff at the same time.
So, folks, if you're a geography teacher and you're listening, you've got all the legs of sustainability here. You've got economic, environmental, and social. And if you want to bring in the political element as well, because it's community-based and very democratic, you've got that sense of it as well.
Absolutely.
I just want to walk over here. One last thing I want you to talk about, Suzanne, is your lovely deli counter. The only problem I have with this is that I never know what to choose whenever I come up to it. And I know that Kai, my youngest, absolutely adores your vegetable samosas.
Yes.
So every time we come in here, he always wants a vegetable samosa. Theo keeps changing their mind with what they want. I usually go for one of the rolls, the vegan haggis rolls or the walnut and mushroom roll usually. But you've also got cakes here. You got savoury vegetable and almond wedge. You've got mango and lemon cheesecake. You've got smoked the tofu pie is in peanut sauce is delightful. Vegetarian quiche. Tell us a little bit about your deli counter here.
So everything is made in our tiny little kitchen.
Right at the back,
out the back. Apart from the samosas, we get those delivered, and we've had those delivered. They come from a family firm in the Midlands. So, and we've been getting those for 20 plus years as well. So the consistency of quality never changes. It's so good. So, but everything else we make using our vegetables that we get in the shop. So if you're eating something full of vegetables, it's full of organic vegetables, and it's also it's got the quiches are the only thing that's vegetarian. Everything else is vegan. And the quiches have got organic egg in there as well.
And folks, we were saying about prices, like you walk into an established chain, cafe or whatever, the prices are comparable. You know, I mean, and especially if you're on the road and you go to a service station, there's things more expensive than this.
Oh my goodness, yeah. No, you're definitely getting a bargain if you buy something out of the cool counter here. And also, we've got really good cooks work here as well. So the fig and almond cake that practically disappears as soon as it goes out in there because it's just amazing. It's so delicious. And then the top, so it's all vegan. Apart from the quiches, and then the top shelf is also vegan and gluten-free. So we have a few people who work in the town who come and buy stuff from us all the time because they're vegan and gluten-free, and being able to get the two things combined is quite unusual. You know,
It really is. Yeah,
Yeah.
my
So
one
we
of my
do-
cousins is got
Yeah.
celiac disease and like has no end of
Exactly.
trouble, finding exactly what she
Yeah.
wants. But
So we do try and cater to gluten-free people who are gluten-free, people who are vegan, people who are vegetarian. If people come in and tell us about their food intolerance, we do everything we can to try and accommodate them.
that's amazing.
Cheers. And I have learned these
Lovely
they
colours.
look a bit rough sometimes at the moment, but they're good. You
They
just clean
taste,
them
yeah,
and they're good.
exactly. They taste lovely, don't they? They even smell when you start cleaning them.
Yeah.
It's so good. Sweet
So
carrots.
let's segue a little bit on now, Suzanne, and talk a little bit about. First of all, talk about like the cooperative nature of the place, and then we'll move on to talking about you personally, how this all fits in with your character and your
Yes.
personality. So yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a few years ago when you kind of decided to make this place a cooperative or more established as a cooperative. Can you kind of fill in that process and what it all means?
So the shop was being run by Marianne, and she'd run it beautifully for years and years. And both me and Faye, who work here now, worked for Marianne, and Rebecca as well, who's not here today. We all worked for Marianne, and she was a great boss, but she wanted to retire.
Yeah.
And so she'd approached us all individually, seeing if we wanted to take the business on, but none of us felt in a position either that we had the time, the energy, or the money to do it as individuals. But I think Rebecca came up with a brilliant idea that we run it cooperatively, and we started that process. And Marianne was very happy to go along with that process. She just wanted to see the shop keeping going and being run in the way that it always had been. So she was really up for it, and we were really up for it. So 2017 that happened, and we've been running it like that ever since.
Yeah. So is it as simple as it sounds? Is that you all have an equal stake, equal say,
Absolutely,
equal responsibility?
As soon as you become a co-op member, and you have a trial period working here for a while, and then you decide whether you want to be a co-op member or not. So you don't have to. If you don't want to, you can just be an employee. We're all employees as well.
Yep.
So
you're your own bosses.
We're our own bosses. We make all the decisions together, and everything is talked about and decided. So we'll have regular meetings. We'll all add to the agenda of what we think needs discussing. We come up with ideas and
there must be disagreements of how to move forward, but that's the best thing about it is that you're constantly having to think outside the box and compromise. But
the thing is that we all love the shop, and that's at the root of the thing. So we all want the best for the shop, and obviously we want to keep working here and keep our jobs going and everything. So we've got a shared passion, and so there might be a kind of idea of how to do something, but we do something. I'm trying to think what it's called. We had some training in this thing called consensus decision making.
Oh, I've heard of this. I've heard this before, yeah.
Yeah, and there's this fabulous group of people called Seeds for Change.
Yeah.
And they train people in consensus decision making and how to run a meeting so that everybody gets listened to and everything gets taken on board. So there's I think, to be honest, because there was such a small group of people and we all know each other very well, I think there was a lot of consensus decision making going on anyway, but they were really helpful. So
I know that a few well-meaning, well-intentioned groups you could probably do with a copy of that handbook,
yeah,
because where they're all singing from the same hymn sheet,
exactly.
but they're all kind of on a different tune.
If you've got 25 people sat around in a big circle and they're all passionate about something,
they're going to be disagreements.
It can be a noisy room, can't it? But our meetings generally involve a lot of tea and cake, and
my kind of meetings.
And we normally come to decisions that everybody's happy with quite easily. So when we've had some really big things to deal with over the last few years as well.
I can imagine.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. So okay, so this leads me nicely into kind of, so what does Suzanne then bring to the to the cooperative, how does your personality and your passions manifest itself? So tell us a little bit about yourself. Effectively, is a very convoluted way of asking that question.
Well, I came to the shop when my children started school. So
Okay.
I'd come in the shop just like you, Kit, with your children. I'd come in the shop to buy my lentils and things. And I think Marianne was very clever, and she spotted that children had started school and said, did I fancy doing a few hours work? So I came to the shop that way. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and was it like an instant, like, yes, like you didn't have to think about it, or did you think about it? Or?
You know, it's, as soon as you walk in here, the smell
Yes.
of all of the cooking and the baking and the spices, it just makes you feel cosy, doesn't it?
So it really does.
It's
That warm sense that I got. Yeah.
Exactly. Just your shoulders go down and you feel safe, and you know, it's like it smells like my home with my mum baking and stuff. So yeah, it's a lovely environment to be part of.
Yeah,
so.
and I would say in terms of kind of like the social side of things, it's like I think you were the first group of people. I when I moved here and I first came in, I was like, you were the first group of people to like know any changes about me, like personal changes about me. I would actually come in and say, oh, this is now happening, is this now happening? Because I felt so safe and secure talking to you folks.
Yes.
And it's been delightful. And one of the things I get the sense of is you know, because of the community feeling that you've brought to this place, is that I've said this to you before, is that I walk through that door and it really does genuinely feel like a safe place.
Yes, that's so lovely to hear, isn't it?
So it's great, and I have to say there's quite a few places around here where it's done that, and it's almost it's the fear of which really is debilitating rather than the reality. But you come in here and then like the lovely comments that you give me, as I say, oh, you know, this has happened for the very first time. I've now started to do this, and you're always like, oh, that's amazing, and it's like, so yeah. And it's just goes to show that you bring your personalities to the work as well.
Definitely. Well, I think, you know, we're all very like-minded, socially and politically. You know, we're kind of community members. You know, so we like people.
Yeah.
You know, we like our customers, don't we? You know,
and this is it. Everyone, like the other two, so Faye and Jan just like turned around and gave us a great big smile. Like they just, and again in concert there, like it was on like I'm pressing a button. So yeah, it's absolutely fabulous. Would you say that in this shop like kind of embodies like who you are as a person then? In a sense.
I think I find that this shop has nurtured me, and especially since we became a co-op and we started to run it together, it's definitely boosted my confidence like about 1,000,000 to 1. Because I've been home with children, not working, and kind of you can't get away from it. That makes you lose confidence because you don't feel like you're a part of the world. Well, I didn't feel like I knew I had a role in the world or where I fitted, apart from as a mother.
Yeah, it's just I need to go and put them in my cool bag. Yeah. And I want some chestnut puree. Yeah.
So I'm now talking to Faye, another one of the co-op members here. What are you doing here, Faye?
At the moment, I'm just trying to find some alternatives for some of the products that I want to replace in the shop. You know, some of the products on the shelves. So, for example, I'm going to look for something to replace our 3-bean chili, which doesn't really sell very well.
Okay.
And there's some rather exciting new vegan products.
Curry?
So, yeah,
vegan chocolate custard. Interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking at the savoury though, kids.
No, sorry.
Let's concentrate on the savoury. I know you probably like that. So I'm looking at things. I'm thinking sort of. There's a Mexican chili. We've got a Madras curry, a Szechuan curry. So that's made with. They're the dried bean seeds off of a tree from China. I don't know much about the Szechuan, but I know a little bit. And then we've got some Thai curries. So what do you fancy the look of?
I definitely...
What would you go for?
Oh, the tikka curry, surely.
That appeals to you,
that
does it?
Indeed, yeah.
Let's.
So this is a wholesale website then. So you.
It is. Yeah. So I'm on the Suma wholesale website, and this product is a fairly new product to them. So I think we should give it a try. It's one of the nice things about being a buyer. You get to do all these lovely little jobs. So I'm going to get 6 cans of that one in. There you go.
Okay.
Let's add that one in.
And if it completely collapses and you make a loss, you can blame me.
We will come after you.
Thanks, Faye.
That's all right. You're welcome.
Hello, Jan.
Hi, Kit. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad.
Good.
Suzanne has told me that you kind of like you've been responsible for the accounts of late.
I have indeed.
Enjoy that process.
I do. Yeah, it was a bit daunting in the beginning. Because I'd never really I hadn't even worked on a spreadsheet before, Kit. That's how backwards I was. So yeah, with gentle training mostly from Rebecca and great support from everybody else because they've all done that role.
Yeah.
It's gone pretty smoothly. I've really enjoyed it. And to be fair, I will be quite sad when it finishes because we do it for a year each time, and then I feel like I've really got in the swing of it. Yeah. Nice. And I'm going to have to give it up when I've really got my passion going. But that's the good thing about the shop. You move on to another job, you learn another skill.
Upskilling, yeah.
So, yeah, it's been fun. I have enjoyed it.
Yeah, and another myth that's been busted during this chat is the fact that, there's all these kind of like different dimensions to running a shop like this, and it can build your quote-unquote CV, your skills.
Absolutely.
There's, of course, where my other half works, they have high school students in doing a bit of stuff. I was like, I don't know, maybe high school students, you've listening to this?
Yeah.
Good work experience for you.
Absolutely. Always something to learn. That's the thing, like you're saying, you walk into a shop like this, it looks like it's so well run, and it is, but behind always something to do, and the customers bring things to the shop as well. So yeah, it's every day is different, Kit.
Oh.
And that's a pleasure to go to work to, that even though I might be doing the same role, everything, the atmosphere, it changes on a day-to-day basis. As you know, I love it.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Kit.
So, we are all geographers. We need to link a single word to the discussion that we've had, or geography and stuff like that. My last guest came up with the word baby. So you've got 30 seconds between you to link the word baby to this, maybe to this shop. So you ready?
Yeah, so I suppose the automatic thing is we see this shop as our baby. It's we nurture it. We're kind of growing the shop in the way that we've all grown children. Is that?
It's nurturing for one word. Yeah,
exactly.
And love.
Yay!
Completely.
So, well done. And you did it. And I can probably think of a word you might want to come up with for the next guest. But what one word would you like to say for the next guest?
It's got to be sustainability.
It's got to be sustainability. Yeah. So that's going to be for our next guest.
Yeah.
So Suzanne, thank you so much to you and the team for having me in this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure to have a behind the scenes look. Plug your wares. Where can people find you and see you on social media, etc.?
So we are the Natural Foodstore Cooperative, and you can find us on Instagram and Facebook, and we also have a website, so you can find us in any of those places. We're in the heart of Diss Heritage Triangle. So if you're in South Norfolk or North Suffolk, come and pay us a visit.
Yeah.
And also talk to us on social media. It's we're Instagram friends with lots of other like-minded people, and we'd love to have a conversation with anyone who's interested in sustainability. So
no matter where they are in the world or where they are in the country.
We've got we're friends with cooperatives in the States and all over the place. People see our posts and react to them, and it's lovely just to have a conversation with like-minded people. And often it just gives you a boost when you need it.
It does. It feels. One thing I will say, folks, all of you, is that I always feel warm when I come into this shop, but I feel fulfilled. This has definitely set up my day today.
Excellent.
So thank you so much for your time and for having me as a pesty fly. You can swap me out the door now. So
you're very welcome. Anytime.
I think I'm going to grab myself one of those fig cakes before
See, I just saying as well.
Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. Thanks, Kit. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you had fun. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe so more stories and experiences can drop into your favourite podcast app. If you fancy being a guest or have any feedback, follow us on Twitter at CoffeeGeogPod and send us a DM. Or you could email coffee at